Okay. Whoops. All right. So we said that she could have found a reason why to take even if they drop three. And that is because there's three la'ani, v'lager. It says for a poor person, for a, what, for a widow,
Or
for a
orphan.
convert. So she meets three criteria. Maybe she could take three. But we said, whatever, we asked a number of questions on this. And we find that when it comes to staka, when it comes to leket, that we err on the side of the poor person. So why don't we do that here and just pass on that she's entitled to three. So we're on page 58 in the middle. Zera Shimshon explains. Okay, most recently we asked, there are two verses. One enumerates two categories who can take, and one enumerates three categories of people who can take. And based on that, we say, okay, if you drop two or if you drop three, that's the argument between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. So it says, why does Beis Shammai um, rely on the pasuk that says if you drop that of the two categories, let him take the other pasuk. What draws him to this pasuk over the other one? To say that you should that if you that she can only take if they drop two, but not three. Okay, so we're in the middle of 58. Zera Shimshon explains.
Zera Shimshon explains that Beis Hillel, in fact, had a compelling reason to derive their law from the verse for the poor and for the convert. We may explain as follows. The reason is set forth in Torah's Kohanim, Parshas Kedoshim, to explain why the phrase for the poor and the phrase for the convert are both needed. For if only the phrase for the poor had been written, I would err to say that we must leave leket even for poor idolaters. The phrase for the convert therefore teaches that we must leave leket for the poor only after he has become a Jew. And if only the phrase for the convert had been written, I would err to say that we must leave him leket even if he is a wealthy convert. The phrase for the poor therefore teaches that we must leave leket for a convert only if he is also poor. It was therefore necessary for both phrases to be written. And therefore, Beis Hillel saw fit to base their ruling on this verse. For the poor and for the convert, you shall leave them, because it is there that the primary derivation of the laws of Leket are expounded, for which both phrases are in fact needed. This verse, therefore, also serves as an allusion to the number of stocks that are considered Leket. As for the verse, for the convert, for the orphan, and for the widow, however, there is no need for these orphan and widow specifications. For if they are rich, they may not take leket. And if they are poor, they obviously may take leket. This verse, thus, is not the primary source from which the laws of leket are derived. Beis
Okay,
Hillel,
it's why does Beis Hillel, what draws them to learn from the pasuk with only two categories? Because those two categories teach us who can take leket, but not the one with the three categories. Okay,
okay.
middle of 59.
So Beis Hillel therefore hold that we cannot derive the laws of leket from this verse at all. Before returning to clarify Maharsha's explanation, Zera Shimshon adds one more important point. Now, even according to Beis Hillel, it would have made sense to derive that three stocks are sometimes considered leket from the verse for the convert, for the orphan, and for the widow. If it was indeed possible for someone to be a convert, an orphan, and a widow. For then we could have said that the verse comes to say that 3 stocks are for the poor, as alluded to by its 3 specifications, in a case where the collector is a poor woman convert who is also an orphan and a widow, possessing all 3 of these specifications. In fact, however, it is impossible for a convert to be called an orphan, in which case the verse cannot refer to one person with these 3 qualifications. For a convert, by halachic definition, has no father. But what about mother?
Well, let me catch up. A or mother. Well, we're talking about here about a breadwinner. So traditionally, that's a father. I think that's what it says. But the law is halachically, when someone converts, they have no halachic family that they bring over with them. Okay, hi Alan, thanks for joining.
Sorry about that.
Hey, Alan, how you doing?
Glad you're okay.
Chemo does something to me, and I had to run
Oh, okay.
when it
You
hit.
still, I thought you were off it. No, you're still taking it?
I still got months to go.
Oh, okay.
Months of chemo?
Finishing the whole treatment.
But
I
you're
thought you're done.
What?
I thought you're done with chemo.
No, I'll be through probably after October.
Yeah, but I
What?
thought you were 0.8.
It's not gone.
Ah, okay, I see. All right. Okay, so for Alan's sake, should we rehash?
I could
Ryan?
try. I could try. Um, so we said basically very quickly, we said that last week that Ruth was Boaz saw that she was very learned. And we explained why was she learned, that she had there's an argument between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. Beis Hillel say that she can only take 2 stocks that drop. But if 3 stocks drop, she can't take it. Beis Shammai say
This I
what?
remember. I remember from last week.
Okay, so Beis Shammai says she can even take 3 stocks that drop. So he said he saw that if 3 dropped, she didn't take. So he said, "What's she so smart? That's that's the halacha." Because she maybe would think that she's entitled to 3 stocks because she fits 3 categories. She was poor, she was a convert, and she was a widow. And she didn't take. So I said, yeah, but that doesn't prove anything. And we said, why does Beis Hillel say they can only take from 2? Why doesn't he say they can take from 3, like Beis Shammai says? We have 2 psukim. One has 2 categories, one has 3 categories. Why does Beis Hillel go to that category? So this week we started that the pasuk with the 2 categories is we learn it says the poor person and the convert.
I have a
So
question for you.
from there we learn the main idea of the main laws of leket, that if it's a convert can only take if they're poor. And the convert teaches us, so if a convert is wealthy, they can't take. The convert teaches us that it's not for an idol worshiper. It's if it's either I guess Jewish or someone who joins, someone who converts.
Do they consider a convert to be equivalent to an orphan?
To be equal?
Only because of the fact when you're a convert, your name becomes, if it's a woman, that it's changed. You don't have it according to your parents, so you adopt. I'm sorry, that's what you come for your name. So then they consider because in this they use orphan and convert intermittently. They still use the widow and the poor.
Uh,
Someplace,
a convert can be an orphan and a widow.
right? But in this case, they're talking about some places they say convert, some places they say orphan.
Right, but a convert cannot be an orphan, halachically. Are you asking a question?
Yes, that's what I'm asking. I mean, why do they use the terms? Why do they use the terms interchangeably?
Which terms?
Orphan and convert.
Where are they used interchangeably?
In some places they say
Not interchangeable. It's not interchangeable.
okay.
One pasuk says a poor person and a convert. You leave the stuff that drops
On the page before,
for a poor person and for a convert.
the page before, we talk about a convert, an orphan, and a widow.
Which page are you on?
If you look at page 57 on the bottom,
57?
they talk about convert, orphan, and widow.
Yeah.
And then they still talk about a poor and a convert, but then they talk about a poor and a convert, but then
Because Beis Hillel, you have to understand, this is an argument between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. So Beis Hillel is basing the laws of Leket off of the verse that says for the poor and for the convert. Then there's a second pasuk that says for the convert, for the widow. Okay? And on 59, which we just read before you came in, the logic states that you cannot use the pasuk that says for a convert, for the convert, the orphan, and or the widow, because a convert cannot be an orphan. So that's disputed. So therefore, you can't use the pasuk that has the three options. You have to use the pasuk that has the two options. You follow me?
yes.
And when it said that a convert cannot be an orphan, that's from a halachic standpoint. Because halachically, if you're a convert, you're considered not to have had a father. Follow?
Yes,
Okay.
I understand. Yes,
Okay.
Thank you, Rudy, for clarifying that.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we're in the middle of page 59, Alan.
Okay.
Now, even according to Beis Hillel, it would have made sense to derive that three stalks are sometimes considered leket from the verse for the convert, for the orphan, and for the widow. If it was indeed possible for someone to be a convert, an orphan, and a widow, then we could have said that the verse comes to say that the three stalks are for the poor, as alluded to by its three specifications, in a case where the collector is a poor woman convert, who is also an orphan and a widow, possessing all three of these specifications. In fact, however, it is impossible for a convert halachically to be called an orphan, in which case the verse cannot refer to one person with these three qualifications. Even
Where are you
though
reading? Tio, where are you reading?
59.
We're in 59?
He added the word halacha.
Continue, please.
Even though, in fact, Ruth was all three, right? But halachically, she's not considered to be an orphan because she was a convert.
Yeah.
In this case, the verse cannot refer to one person with these three qualifications. For a convert, by halachic definition, has no father. Since a convert who has converted is like a newborn child with no relatives. Now we're at page 60.
Okay.
So Zera Shimshon says the status of a convert is thus the same as the status of an orphan. If so,
Hold on.
it is, yep,
What did we just say?
Said you couldn't.
We just said the opposite.
No, they said they could not be the same, but now they're saying they have the same status. That's a different
definition.
clarification.
Okay, he explains it in the next few lines.
Consider they have the same status, but they're not the same.
Yeah.
But they can be treated the same, which is what I was asking. So that's my question.
So it is impossible to speak of a poor woman convert who is also an orphan and a widow, which Ruth was, since her status as a convert already means she is an orphan. The verse for the convert, for the orphan, and for the widow thus adds nothing to what is already derived from the verse for the poor and for the convert. Okay? Are we okay?
Yeah.
So therefore, according to Beis Hillel, we should derive the laws of Leket from the verse for the poor and for the convert, which can be understood as referring to a convert who is also poor. And they therefore say 2 stocks are for the poor and 3 are for the owner, as is alluded to in that verse. But seemingly we cannot derive anything from the plain meaning of the verse for the convert, for the orphan, and for the widow.
We cannot derive anything from the plain meaning. That's the other one.
Yeah. So having isolated the verse for the poor and for the convert as the only source from which Beis Hillel derives the laws of Leket, Zera Shimshon returns to clarify Ruth's wisdom in not taking 3 stocks for herself. We're not going to be able to finish this. Okay.
No. I gotta stop in a few minutes. Go to Mincha.
Time 7:06.
Let's see if we can finish 61.
No, it's a big paragraph.
Okay. I gotta find some more people for Minion.
So you want to stop here?
Yeah, and let's stop.
Okay, so page 60. Make a note, Alan, page 60.
I've got it noted.
Okay. And glad
All
to
right.
see you up and about, Alan.
What?
So glad to see you up and about.
Yes. I came home, I fell asleep.
Thank you, Alan.
Okay.
Take care of yourself, okay? Keep doing what you're doing.
Is Noah and Esther both in Israel?
Just Noah.
Just Noah.
Esther, they had a grandson.
So Esther, right.
They had a grandson, so bris is tomorrow.
Where's the bris?
I between the legs. What do you mean, where's the bris? That's where all brises are.
What city was this one born in?
In Brooklyn. If you want to go to Brooklyn, I'll send you seriously, I'll send you the
No, I'm not.
okay. It's in Brooklyn. Okay.
I didn't know whether it was one in Canada or not, you know.
What?
I didn't know whether this was one of the ones in Canada or, you know, who knows? There's so many kids, so many places, I can't keep track of who's who, what's
No,
what.
they actually, I'm not sure where it is. There is a bris house. There's a guy who
Yeah.
gives a house, and he has the
I've heard about
bris there.
I heard about this many times.
It's in Crown.
Crown Heights.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, let me look for a 10th. Okay?